I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on inspirational rocks, and these are our heart or love rocks. These are a lot of fun. They've made great gifts. You could use them regular, or you could use them for Valentines, or you could use them at a wedding for your favor. So there's all kinds of different things that we can do or use them for. So let's get started. We'll show you how to make them.
Inspirational rocks are really big right now, and I like making them with designs as well as words and stuff. So just find you a river rock, make sure you wash it and it's really dry, and we're going to be using our heart mold, and this is in our frosted lace line. And once you've seen what we use on it, then we're going to go ahead and get started. For our frosted lace, we're going to be using caulking, which is a latex caulk silicone, and you always want to make sure that it is white. It does come in clear and different colors, so we want to make sure that we have white. And I use Alex Plus, and I pick mine up in Walmart, and I pay less than $2 for it. So it makes it very affordable to be able to use this, and this will go a long ways. So once you're ready to use this, I use it with a caulk gun, and I just cut the tip off. The farther up you cut it, the more is going to come out at a time, so that's up to you. And just simply set it into your gun and start to pull that until the caulk starts to come out the front, and we'll put that directly into our mold. To seal it, I just put a rubber band with a Ziploc bag over it, but you could do it with saran wrap or anything like that, and that'll stay for months. Now, on this one, I want to use a little bit of glitter, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And with the white, I like to stick with the white glitter. I really didn't like different colors with the glitter, so you kind of want to put it kind of lightly across. And on this one, these two are half, and I'm not doing a continuous one, so I'm not going to even try to fill those two up. I'm just going to put my caulking onto the rest of the mold, and we're going to work from there. Now, I'm not going to put that guy back on until I know he is done. Okay, and it doesn't take a lot of the caulking at all, and I kind of like to keep it in that area, and we're going to skim it across the top and get all of the holes nice and full, and anything that's left over on the top we want to take off. And this, once you've got the mold, this is a very inexpensive project, and I love the hearts. I just did a wedding with the hearts as a favor on candles. We'll put that video up soon, so make sure you look for that one. And there you go. Now I'm going to, we didn't need any more for him, so I'm going to seal him up. And I have sealed him up like this, and I waited almost a year one time before I used it again. So it really does last a long time as long as it's sealed properly. And I'm also going to wipe off my scraper. And the scraper and the molds are both things that we carry at miriamjoy.com, and keep this nice and clean. And I'm also working on some paper or something. A piece of cardboard would probably be even better. But I want to talk to you about even coloring it. Now this one is done, and this is dry. Now, how do you know when they're dry? I usually leave them overnight. But if you start to pick them up and they come out easy, then they are dry. So that's something to know. But what you need to do is, before you take them out, we have to go in, and I lightly dip my finger in water, just a small amount, and we rub this And what we're doing is rubbing anything, kind of like panes of glass, any of those parts that come through need to be taken out. And that's why we scrape it, but there's sometimes a little bit left behind. And once you've rubbed it really well, and if you haven't, like see, this little guy here isn't quite rubbed as good, you can set them back in and do it a little bit more. But when they're wet, don't stack them on each other because they will stick to each other. Now, how you color them can be all kinds of different ways. I did red glitter with pink. And you can do it with food dye, you can do it with inks, you can do it with alcohol inks. Anything that you use as a coloring, you can use into this. And it's better to do it before you let it dry instead try to paint it afterwards, because this is silicone. It is kind of sealed and it's not as easy to color. It's a lot harder. So if you want to do color, it's best ahead of time. So then we're going to have to decide. I'm going to go ahead on this one. I just simply poured some alcohol inks behind it, and then I glued it on with my E6000. You want to make sure that nothing is loose. If you have anything that's loose like that, I'm going to take just my regular E6000 with a toothpick and put that on, or with just directly out of that. But my E6000 spray is what I use or try to use with my rocks. And sometimes I use just a little bit of this on the outside points to help hold it there. Now, if you do just the rock and don't put anything else underneath it, you don't need to varnish it because this is sealed. And then you could come in with a Sharpie or a permanent marker. This is Identipen, and write something. That's kind of the big thing right now, is just the inspirational message behind some of these. So think of different things that you could do or write. There's a bunch of them on Pinterest. Or even if you wanted to use these as wedding favors and you had enough little river stones, you could do that as well. So there's tons of things to think about. I'm going to use this guy here, and I want to use some different coloring on the background of him. For the background of these, I'm going to use oil paint sticks, and these are from Shiva, and I like to pick mine up from bluewhalearts.com, and they'll take care of you if you want some of those there. And they get kind of a skim on top, so you have to kind of take that and break that off when they're dry. And then you put them back into a little baggie when you're done. But I only, like I said, like the iridescent ones. They go on easier for me. They're prettier for me. It's my preference. And for certain projects like gourds and stuff, they don't go on as easy, the regular kinds. So that's what I kind of look for. You could do them however you wanted to do them. This is totally up to you. Have fun. You could use any type of background that you wanted to play with and use. And then I just rub these on with my finger. If you want to make them darker, you can make them darker. And then I want to do some white here. A lot of times I will peel the edge off like that and work off the edge, and that way I can get a smaller area. So that's kind of what I like to do. This also works really good with stencils. You can use these with stencils. So we're going to play with that until you like what you have. And then we're going to put our heart on. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to spray my heart with E6000 with the stone. You can try different adhesives. I like different adhesives for different things that I'm putting on. So kind of play around with that and see what you like. You also could put it on like the E6000 on a fan brush and brush it on, and then you have to get that out. That's a little bit messier. That's why I don't like to do it as well, but it does go on and stay on. And then after we get that glued, we'll talk about varnishing it. There is a front and a back to these, and with the glitter it's easier to tell, but you want to make sure that the smooth side that at the bottom of the mold is sticking straight up. And we're going to go ahead and you want that pretty well coated. We're going to leave that for about 3 minutes. If you wanted to make sure that it's really good, you can also just put a dot here or there of your E6000 on it also, and that helps really hold that in the long run. So we're going to give that a few minutes and then we'll put it together. Now that those have dried a few minutes, we want to go ahead and put them on our stone. We want to make sure they're tacky everywhere. If not, you can put a little bit of E6000 on them. There is my pink one. Now these are different. The E6000, the spray, they are kind of liquidy and you just kind of let it set for a while. And here is our white one. Isn't that pretty? Now, because this is the oil paints, I would let this sit 24 hours before I go ahead and spray it with my spray varnish. Now this is already sealed, so we don't need to hit it with the spray varnish. And with the alcohol inks, we'd want to kind of heat set that first. Do a couple of very light, so there's nothing wet on it so it doesn't run. But if it ran on this rock, there's nothing that it would have hurt. You just don't want it to come on top of your heart, which I do not think it would. And then you would do some heavier coats after that. Anything that you want to spray varnish with, just as sure as it's non-yellowing, you can use Krylon, you can use Rust-Oleum, and whether you like it shiny or not is going to be whether you use matte, satin, or gloss. Matte's dull, satin's in the middle, and gloss is with the really shiny. Your rock is really going to absorb that up, so that's something to think about as well. But aren't those just a lot of fun to do? And then you can go hide those somewhere and have somebody find them or give them to your loved ones.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have lots of ideas on how to use them. To get your molds, come on over to miriamjoy.com and pick them up there. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our videos so we can continue to grow. Thank you. God bless.